The Silent Room. In the heart of an old English countryside stood Blackridge Manor, a grand, decaying house surrounded by fog-draped trees and whispers of forgotten tragedy. The locals spoke of it in hushed tones, warning curious souls to stay away. But Clara Mitchell, a 26-year-old writer searching for solitude and inspiration, ignored their warnings. She had rented the manor for the entire autumn, determined to finish her first novel in peace. Clara arrived on a gray October morning. As her car crunched up the gravel driveway, she stared at the towering structure before her. Blackridge Manor was both beautiful and sinister, tall windows like blind eyes, ivy strangling its walls, and a stillness that felt unnatural. She was greeted by an old caretaker, Mr. Hemsley, who handed her a heavy iron key. "Don't go into the room at the end of the third-floor hallway," he said in a voice too casual to be innocent. "It's best left alone." Clara raised an eyebrow. "Why?" Mr. Hemsley gave a stiff smile. "Some rooms hold silence better than others." That night, the wind howled like a warning through the trees. Clara set up her laptop in the library, lighting a fire to chase away the cold. She worked late, the warmth of the flames barely touching the chill that clung to the house. The silence was almost oppressive, pressing against her ears. But she wrote, and that was all that mattered. Days passed. Clara explored the manor's many rooms, each filled with dusty furniture, portraits with lifeless eyes, and echoes of the past. Yet one door remained closed, the room Mr. Hemsley had warned her about. The Silent Room. She passed it often, the last door on the third floor, its brass handle cold as ice. Sometimes she thought she heard something inside, soft breathing, faint footsteps, but when she placed her ear against the wood, there was only silence. One stormy evening, after another fruitless day of writing, Clara stood before the Silent Room, her hand on the doorknob. Her curiosity had festered into obsession. She turned the handle. Locked. The next morning, Mr. Hemsley came to check the pipes. Clara cornered him. "What's in that room?" He stiffened. "A memory. One that never faded." "Did someone die there?" He hesitated. "A child. Evelyn Blackridge. Daughter of the original owners. She disappeared in that room 100 years ago. They say she went in and never came out. The door was locked from the inside. When they broke it down, she was gone. Only silence remained." Clara was silent, too. That night, she dreamed of a little girl in a white dress standing at the end of her bed, eyes hollow, mouth sewn shut with black thread. She woke up gasping. The next day, Clara searched the manor for a key. She tore through drawers, boxes, even the attic. Finally, she found a small, rusted key inside a hollow book in the library. It was old and heavy, ancient even. It had to be the one. That night, heart pounding, Clara walked down the hallway. The house seemed to hold its breath. She inserted the key. It clicked. The door creaked open slowly. Dust motes danced in the faint moonlight streaming through the window. The room was small. A child's bed sat in the corner, untouched for decades. A wooden rocking horse stood frozen mid-rock. Dolls stared blankly from a shelf, their eyes chipped and faces cracked. Clara stepped inside. The door slammed shut behind her. She spun around. The handle wouldn't move. She banged and shouted. No sound came from her mouth. She tried again. Still nothing. No voice. No sound. Not even the creak of the floorboards. It was complete silence. Her heart thudded against her ribs, but she couldn't hear it. Panic surged. She pounded the door, screamed for help, but the world was deaf to her suffering. Then the rocking horse began to move. Clara froze. The dolls turned their heads toward her, one by one. A mirror on the far wall shimmered, and she saw herself, mouth open in a scream, but no sound. In the reflection, a girl stood behind her. She turned. No one. She looked again. The girl was closer now, long black hair falling over her pale face, eyes white as bone. The little girl opened her mouth wide, stitched shut with black thread, and let out a scream that couldn't be heard but shook the room. Clara fell to her knees, clutching her head. Then everything went dark. When she woke, she was lying in her own bed. Morning sunlight spilled through the window. She sat up, shaken but whole. Had it been a dream? She rushed to the third floor. The silent room door was shut, but the key was still in the lock. She opened it slowly. The room was empty. Nothing moved. No dolls. No girl. Only a cold breeze that brushed her cheek like a whisper. She backed away and shut the door. From that day on, Clara never returned to the silent room. But things had changed. The house wasn't silent anymore. Now it whispered. At night, she heard soft voices outside her door. A lullaby hummed by unseen lips. The clack of little shoes on the floor. Her writing grew darker. Her dreams, twisted. One night, she looked into the mirror and saw not her own reflection, but the girl, staring back, mouthing something silently. Clara turned away. A week later, Mr. Hemsley found Clara's room empty. Her laptop was still open, her bag unpacked, coffee still warm on the desk. The silent room was locked again. When the police came, they searched the house top to bottom. No sign of Clara. No forced entry. Nothing stolen. They broke down the silent room's door. Inside, it was empty, except for a single new doll on the shelf. One with brown hair. And wide, terrified eyes.